Welcome to our UCLA Extension Department of Business, Management, and Legal Programs video lecture series on entrepreneurship, new venture formation, and strategic business plan development. The video you're about to watch is on how to develop and write an executive summary and conclusion in a business plan. I'm Harry Redinger, your instructor. There are over 40 videos in this lecture series that integrate with our UCLA Extension online course management program, Canvas. Each video strives to be brief and will have a bit of overlap with other videos to tie our curriculum together. To that note, let's get started. You might be asking the question, why be studying or bring up the subject matter of executive summary and conclusion at the very end of our curriculum? Well, you can always spot a poorly developed business plan when the executive summary is 4 or 5 pages long. The executive summary wants to be an abstract of the entire business plan development process. So it's kind of hard to write an executive summary when you haven't even written the business plan. And so often people write an executive summary as the very first step and totally disregard all the discovery process that goes into developing your mission statement and your vision of success and your industry analysis and market analysis and cash flow projections. I mean, as you go through this process, you're constantly having aha moments, and you can't really appreciate that until you've gone through all the process. So the very, very, very last step of the business plan development process, and I want to make a little side note, you have to go through this process 3 times before the business plan really has some polish to it. But the first draft, we don't develop an executive summary and a conclusion until we have the very first draft done. There's another reason why we develop our executive summary and conclusion at the very end of the process, is because here is where we want to start synthesizing all that we've learned from the development of our business plan and start to transition into the market development, the utilizing and presenting the business plan in the context of a elevator sales pitch, in the context of a business plan presentation. So here is where less is more, less is more, less is more. Your ability to give an effective presentation of your business plan is your ability to summarize and get to the point quickly. You don't want to bore people. In fact, we're going to touch on this a bit here, but when we present ourselves to someone for the very first time, and we often refer to this as an elevator sales pitch, meaning that we have to present the concept of our business within 20 to 30 seconds. Think about this. You might have worked an entire year on this, months, hundreds of hours, and you're going to be put in a situation to present this in 30 seconds. And you might have a 25 to 50 page business plan. And what do you mean I'm going to present this in 20 seconds? Well, yes. And to be effective in presenting your business plan and the concept of your business and what you're all about has to be distilled down to that short of amount of time. And in fact, an executive summary wants to be no more than 1.5 pages long. That's it. You get any longer than that, no one's going to read it. Often, and that you should know, and before we get into this, many people when they get a business plan for the very first time, and they often don't want the business plan. They say, give me the PowerPoint. But even still, when they get the PowerPoint, they read the executive summary, and that's it. They don't read anything else. So this is a very, very, very important document, the executive summary. It's more important than the conclusion. It's more important than any other aspect of the business plan. So well, I got to be careful when I say that in terms of, because the whole business plan is important, but the way you set up and structure your executive summary is critical to the overall success of your business plan, no matter what you're going to use it for funding, to acquire advisory board members, the whole gamut. Okay, so the first slide we have up here talks about just the cover page of your business plan. And the reason why we're going to talk about this before we even get into how to write an executive summary, because in essence, this is a part of telling someone what they're going to read before they read it. And this is part of the executive summary. So the first part is the title. And, you know, we could just have the name of the business, but we want to say what the business plan's about. What's it for? And here we say, and I always have some kind of business going myself, and my next big entrepreneurial launch in the marketplace will be a business called EQ Yoga Studios. And EQ Yoga, so the title here is EQ Yoga Studios Business Plan for Startup Operations. It could be for expansion operations. It could be for a public offering. And we might have the body of the business plan that stays the same, but we might change the title. We might say EQ Yoga Business Plan for Advisory Board Members, and make that a part of the title, and I mean the main title. But in this case, we're just going to say EQ Yoga Studios Business Plan for Startup Operations. Next, we need to indicate who wrote the business plan. Was it a group effort? Was it you? Was it somebody else? But it's often, just like a book, it's often important to put the author down here. And then next, who is it written for? American First Bank, advisory board. In this case, it's for the advisory board. So, but if we're, or just a particular, you know, John Smith, who you're seeking as an investor. And that makes them feel pretty special when this business plan has their name right on the front cover. So, so as you pursue investors, putting their name on the front cover, really, oh my gosh, that's pretty impressive. But here's one of the most important parts of the cover, and this has much to do with the executive summary. Why was the business plan written? Why did you write the business plan? Because if you think about it, if you don't state that here, the reader's got to go through the executive summary, might have to read the mission statement, might have to get all the way down halfway through or into the phase of competitive development to really understand why the business plan was written. So state that up front, right on the cover at the bottom, a single paragraph that explains why the business plan was written. What's your objective? What's your intentional use for this document? If you have a brand image logo, and I do, I have my EQ Yoga that has the 7 chakras in the center, and the emotional intelligence realms around the perimeter, and what this is all about. The concept of the business is integrating emotional intelligence and the 7 chakras of yoga and showing that they really are one and the same. Anyway, that's my crafty logo there. So your brand image logo will go on the front cover of this too. Know that there are a lot of books out there on how to write executive summaries. So we sometimes look at executive summaries. Sometimes we write it from the standpoint as if the first draft is if we're talking to a friend, or this is what we're selling. But know that we really want to put a lot of architectural thought into how this very, 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 very brief statement is designed. This is truly, just like we can say a picture says 1,000 words, well, every sentence, every paragraph has to have much summary meaning in it. And so you really have to get this down to, with what little time and space you have, what are you going to say? And so one of the first things to keep in mind is, effectively written documents tell the reader what you're going to tell them, and tell them what you told them. Just like with public speaking or any kind of communication, give someone a heads up. This is what we're going to talk about. Then talk about it. And then summarize and tell them what you talked about. The subconscious mind looks for that when people are listening and absorbing information. They're first trying to get a label. What's going on? Okay, what are the facts? And then, well, what's your opinion? What's my opinion? What's the conclusion? So much of what's going on here is really abstract writing, and this is why we write the executive summary at the end of the process, the same time we write a conclusion. And I've already stated, just know that some readers will only read the executive summary and then maybe go to the financials and look at the number in the lower right-hand corner of your cash flow projection. Also remember that write your executive summary and conclusion last once the first draft of the business plan is done. I've already stated that. But it's kind of hard to summarize a document that's not even prepared yet. And you can always spot a very poorly developed business plan when the executive summary is 5 or 17 or pages long. That means they wrote it first before they wrote the business plan. And they didn't put any effort into coordinating and proofing afterwards. So really the executive summary wants to be something that you can read within 30 seconds. And you time yourself. Read it in normal space. And if it takes more than 20 or 30 seconds, it's probably too long. We will be talking and have videos on how to acquire power and influence. And in Canvas, there's a number of videos and book reviews that are under the heading of mentoring. So they're not a part of the week-by-week syllabus aspect of the course, but they're in the back. You're not going to be graded on it, but it's for your benefit. They're called mentoring. So there's a number of videos posted in Canvas that deal with the subject. And one of those videos is how to acquire power and influence. And being able to present elevator sales pitch, initially one that's personally oriented, but also to do a business oriented elevator sales pitch. It's just an essential aspect of promoting your own self to the marketplace to invite people to buy into you under non-threatening basis. 72 point something odd percent of your success is going to be directly related to a third-party person referring your name. And so one of the key essential skills to enter into relationships with people of power influence is to master the art of presenting yourself and your quest and situation and goals in life in a way that's not threatening. And so in a way that you're seeking mentoring advice, seeking advice on your life. And so mastering the art of an elevator sales pitch or pitch for your personal self as well as for businesses is an essential skill. Your first now I'm going to get into, I think it's about 3 or 4 steps to writing an executive summary. So the very first step in writing an executive summary is to, your very first paragraph of your executive summary is your personal elevator sales pitch, which is one paragraph of text. And here's where this wants to be in about 20 seconds. I think I said earlier that the whole executive summary should be read within 30 seconds. I mean the first paragraph. Reality is we don't want to exceed a page and a half is what I meant to say. So let's outline the parts of an elevator sales pitch, and it wants 15 to 20 seconds it can go to 30 seconds, but I've always been a little long-winded myself on some of these things. But our first objective is a summary label. Can we explain who you are, what are you all about? Who are you? And then the second is your professional background. Where are you in life? Can you validate your label by just giving some kind of indication of, and with one sentence that kind of gives an idea of age, education, work experience, but you can merely indicate that who you've been working for, or what are you doing in life in just a nutshell. Professional background. Next is your current situation. And here's where we want to be careful to be non-threatening. We're writing a book, we're proving a theory, we're making a life dream come true. We don't want to say or use any words that I'm selling something to you, or hire me, or something like that. We want to make sure that you're explaining your current situation, your problem statement, if you will, from a strategic planning standpoint. And then our next statement is where you're going. And part of that is where we might indicate that where are you going, and that you're seeking advice on how can I be successful in doing this. So be careful, it's not a sales pitch. That's our very first paragraph. And so your pitch qualities, we want to be confident, not arrogant. We don't want to talk about how great we are or anything like that. We want to be very, very short. More generic than specific, okay, because this is a summary. We want to avoid drilling down and giving too much information, and we want to be distinctive, unique. We want to. I don't want to use the word exotic, but we want to. We want to earn the right to be heard. We want to lure this person into us, going, well, that's interesting, to the point where they might be, if I were you, I would do this. Here's some suggestions. But we want to differentiate ourselves in some kind of way. Our second paragraph wants to be our actual elevator business sales pitch, okay? So the first paragraph is about you and your situation, and seeking for buy-in, support. Your second paragraph wants to be your business elevator sales pitch. And again, we want to be able to do this within 20 to 30 seconds of how long it takes to read this. So the first step is identify your problem or economic need. So here's the problem or economic need, not from the standpoint of what the person you're communicating, but in society in general, okay? The business plan, a business person goes, aha, I see a need. And you got a mission statement. What are we selling? To whom we're selling? What makes us competitively different? But the essence of the business is to solve a problem for a target type of customer in the marketplace in some way or another. And so we want to identify what's the problem that your business is going to solve in the marketplace, and thus the economic need, the supply and demand model need for it. The second step is identify the solution to the problem. So here's the problem, and here's the solution, okay? Some new invention, something that's patentable, something obviously what this business is going to be all about. So it's how the product or service that the business is going to provide to the marketplace as a solution to the problem in the marketplace. 3, introduce your entrepreneurial concept to provide the solution to the problem. 4, explain how the product service distribution works. So here's a solution, but it'll be distributed through the internet or UPS or a network of technicians. But how are we going to get the solution to the customer or client? And then finally, outline the strategic resources needed to make the concept a reality. Can you say that within 30 seconds? That's a challenge, but and may I add, it's not until you've gone through this entire business plan development process, industry analysis, market analysis, cash flow projection, all the work, all the company history, all strategic planning process, all the stuff that you've gone through to know how to, with very few words, to state this so briefly. If you try to explain this as brief as you need to at the very beginning, it would be close to impossible, and have it sound good. Have it, and be able to defend it. Be able to actually read this, memorize it, and speak it with someone with an air of self-confidence that you really know what you're talking about. The third paragraph, okay, the third paragraph in your executive summary wants to be an abstract of the whole business plan. So just take, like the mission statement, take a summary of the mission statement, a summary of the vision of success statement, a little summary about your background, 1 or 2 sentences that you've earned these skills, a summary statement of how the industry works, a summary statement of the market analysis, a summary statement of the competitive strategy, a summary statement of funding needs, a summary statement of cash flow, and then a sentence that kind of wraps that all up. Okay, so just find a way to make to create a sentence for each sentence for each section of the business plan. Again, a lot of work, very challenging, and again, it wants to be something that can be read within less than a minute. And so, in essence, we want to have we want to have a paragraph that summarizes the whole business plan up there. And then finally, the fourth paragraph is truly our executive summary paragraph. And it's going to sound something along the line that using your name has gone through this whole process to earn the right, the qualifications and ability to execute the mission statement, to achieve the the vision of success statement, and then whatever the specific objective of the business plan's about. And you might say, and is seeking investors, or business plans can be developed just to get organized, and it's prepared or is at the threshold to start the business that promises to be a multi-million-dollar success. Period. There you go. But at the final paragraph is tell them what you told them. So there'll be 4 paragraphs, and I think I've got them in the next slide. Paragraph 1, the personal elevator sales pitch. Who am I? What am I trying to do? Second is the business elevator sales pitch, what the business is all about, the problem and how it's going to distribute the goods and services and how that's all going to work. The third is an abstract of the entire business plan, and fourth is a summary of what you just told them in a very abbreviated way. When it comes time to write the conclusion of the business plan, and I'm just going to read this. Write a 4-paragraph statement that validates the focal manager's ability to execute the mission statement to achieve the vision of success statement. You can do this by creatively rewriting the executive summary. So it's fine if it's a little bit brief, but basically summarize the whole business plan. And you might say, as you can see, we've the focal manager has earned the right, has acquired all the experience, and everything here shows that everything's set up and ready to go to execute the mission statement to achieve the vision of success statement, and then done. Be aware that many will pick up the business plan, go directly to the cash flow projection, lower right-hand corner, and see the posted annual revenue at the end of year 3 or 5, and then read the executive summary or conclusion, and that's it. And some people don't even want to look at the business; they just want to see the PowerPoint. This is kind of important, and this gets down to just the whole right, and I have a section here on how to present your business plan, but keep in the back of your mind, whenever you present your business plan or business to somebody, we talked much throughout our curriculum about the value proposition ladder, and so you know, all entrepreneurs are enthusiastic about what they're all about, what their passions. And it's so easy, especially if you're an extrovert and had a cup of coffee or two, to just go overboard and too much information about your business. So be careful and be cautious about giving too much information. Just get a little bit and then encourage, focus on dialogue. It's important to let people know what you're doing to get feedback, but it's really easy for some entrepreneurs, and me included, it's one of my I think, soft spots because of my background as a lecturer. But just give information out about your business to others in little increments until they want an information, dump, download. But until then, keep it at a elevator sales pitch type level. Well, to that note, there is our introduction overview on how to write and develop your executive summary and conclusion. See you at our next lecture.